What's up, everybody? Briffris here. Just want to make a quick announcement that the Lost Context podcast is now available on Stitcher, and I believe it's also going to be available on Spotify. Last I heard it was all set up, we were just waiting for approval, but maybe it's gone through already. And I think I finally figured out how to get it on Google Play, so we might get it on there soon too. One other quick thing I want to mention is that it would help us greatly if you would give us reviews. Leaving reviews on iTunes, for example, could boost our viewership. For this episode, Chris Riley is actually the one hosting, so I'm going to let him do the introductions. And now we drop you without context into the Lost Context podcast.
Hello and welcome to the Lost Context podcast, where everything's made up and the context doesn't matter. All right, so first thing we got going, I guess, introductions. I, as always, am Chris Riley. With me is Brian Bridges.
It's-a me!
And Eric Goldberg.
The host of the show, if you guys haven't forgot.
And we have Alex Insdorf.
Hello.
Indorfs.
Yeah, indoors is usually what I end up saying, but I actually got it right this time.
I gotta be honest, I was never really sure how to pronounce your name.
It's spelled phonetically.
I know, I just never really thought of it. I just thought it sounded complicated, and so I didn't even bother.
Well, yeah, that's most people with my name.
Yep, and Tim couldn't be with us this week, but Wesley will be on later, hopefully. He's meeting with an electrician right now.
Hey, that sounds a little pornographic.
Chicka wow wow, chicka wow wow.
Yeah, you know, like as soon as he gets married and already off to the races with all the kink, so.
Sexy electrician destroys Mormon.
The electrician
Hey
is
guys,
his wife.
have you heard about this thing called cuckoldry?
I took that profile picture that I have of my girlfriend, and Wesley told me that I needed to put a shirt on because modesty was important.
Yeah. Yeah, it's the 2018 Mormons don't do the sister wives thing anymore. That's old. Now it's the brother husbands.
Oh, man.
Well, anyways, as you noticed, I'm actually hosting the show this week for once. And so with that, I'm going to make the show about me for right now, because there's a couple things I want to talk about. One thing...
It's always about you, Chris. It's always about you.
Yeah, it is. I can't help it. I'm just so damn interesting.
Chris hosting is the only reason Eric's back on the show.
Yeah, pretty much. I was just like scrambling
show,
last minute to
everything
fill time.
Else,
so I'm like, oh, let's get the Jews on.
You could make a meme of me as that android, and I'd be gesturing up to the butterfly, and it would be Eric's face, and I'd say, "Is this a threat?"
Android being the phone, not like a actual machine or something.
I just read the Wikipedia page. That dude is like a mixture of a dude and an android.
Really?
The guy that's saying, "Is this a pigeon?"
Never knew that. Never cared to know it either. So anyways, I'm sure, like, since I announced this, I think it was a couple weeks ago, that you people have been on the edge of your seats for an ant update. Yes, a couple weeks ago, I mentioned that I collected 15 ants for an ant farm for my daughter. And let me tell you, it's not going so well. The ants have refused to do anything for the last probably 10 days and have just like huddled up into the corner of the ant farm, basically holding their little ant hands together. And it made me realize when I was home last that I think that I've crossed into having a concentration camp.
Is this why you have the two Jews on the podcast just so you can get away with this?
No, this is actually happening. The ants have refused to do any of their work, and they're not digging any little holes.
I'm no expert in ants, but I think you need the queen, if I'm not mistaken. I'm pretty sure they can't really like have a colony without a queen.
So the packaging on the case that this ant farm came with did not say that you needed a queen. It just said collect 15 ants and put them, and they have to be from the same colony at least so they don't fight each other. But and so we did that. We collect 15 ants, and for about a day, they kind of moved around and were trying to figure their shit out. And according to the, information on the box, the gel that comes in this ant farm, it's like a plexiglass rectangle with a bunch of blue gel in it. And the gel is supposed to be nutritious and have water in it to where the ants can just live off of this gel. And after a day or two, they just kind of group together, and like other than just a little bit of movement from their antennae, have stopped doing anything. And it's getting kind of sad. And I'm pretty sure the next time I go home, I'm gonna let them go.
Maybe they OD'd. They're like, free food, and now they're like having hallucinations and shit.
Yeah, so the gel's all trippy. It was made in China or something.
So how's your daughter taking this sad news that you're going to have to let the ants go?
I don't think she really cares. She's 5. She was excited about it the first 4 hours, and then set it in the corner and forgot about it.
So this is really all about you. I mean, like you said in the beginning, I didn't believe you, but then of course you got ants.
Oh wait, there's more. I have more than the
Chris is sad about it because he's the one that invested all the blood, sweat, and tears to collect the ants, and it's his work.
I had to collect the ants, and now they're obviously in their sort of prayer mode. They're praying to their God, which is me, that put them into this situation, and now they're hoping that I set them free from this bondage, and I plan to as soon as I get home. But I got to go to Utah first, so they'll have to wait. And other than that, we don't usually get into group talk anymore, but this is kind of a relevant issue. Friend of the show, Kenny Ryu, posted today that he is Chris Riley 2.0 because he was eating a foot-long hot dog. And sadly, he's correct, because there's no way I can, one-up him anymore, because I have to swear off corn dogs now because I'm on a diet. Oof. And it is very sad. It's not horrible, it's basically I'm cutting out carbs and sugar.
You could just find a corn dog and take a picture with it.
Yeah. I mean, I'll just have to take them rectally from now on.
I mean, you can still put it down your throat and then not bite.
Yeah. Well, your saliva still will dissolve some of the simple sugars in the crust, and so now I'm just gonna have to go straight sausage from now on. So be on the lookout for that.
Is this because of the Kylo Ren picture you sent us?
Partly.
So I'm about to turn 30. Speaking about sausages, I'm about to turn 30, and my girlfriend wants to do something big. So I suggested possibly going to Oktoberfest in September, because my birthday's in September. That shit is expensive, especially last minute.
Fuck yeah.
We're trying, but I'm like, let's just do the beer garden, which is literally 10 blocks away from me. So I think that's probably a better alternative to Oktoberfest.
You gotta buy tickets or what?
No, actually, I think Oktoberfest is free itself. It's just buying a ticket on the plane. It's going to be $5,000, and we're still looking into it. But I think I really want to go with my friends.
Oh, are you talking about actually traveling to
Germany? Yeah.
Oh shit.
I think that'd be really fun. 30th birthday.
Because we have miniature festival things in some of our regional towns, and it's kind of mostly. I mean, it's not nearly going to be as authentic, obviously, but.
I mean, in Hoboken we have the beer garden, and that's really cool because it does have that German feel to it. It's got the liter of beer, and you order the sausages. I don't know. It's pretty cool, but I don't think it's gonna happen. Maybe not this year. Maybe next year though. Although 31 doesn't really sound as catchy as 30.
No.
But it is just drinking beer. You can do that at any age, except for if you're Alex's age, of course.
Unless he goes to Germany.
I lived in the UK for a few months. I mean, I now understand the whole thing about a pub. It really is this group mentality feel to it. You guys drink together, and you'll make your best friend there and never see him for the rest of your life. But he's your best friend for life.
Yeah,
it's kind of depressing, really.
Yeah, it is pretty dope. No, but like I remember I met a group of Australians at the pub, and they were telling me like, let's do tequila shots, but we're not gonna take them like pussies. We're gonna do something called the stuntman. And what the stuntman is like it's kind of use the same ingredients for when you're taking the shot. You know, the salt, the lime, the tequila, obviously. But what it is you snort the salt, you take the shot, and then squeeze the lime in your eye, and then technically you're supposed to have someone punch you right afterwards, and that's the stuntman.
Sounds fun.
Yeah, that's a no thank you.
The bartender wasn't really too happy seeing like a line of white powder on the table.
I like the concept of a pub, and I made a comment a while back when we first started up our Discord that our Discord channel reminds me of that, because I pop in every once in a while in the evenings, and I'll see if anyone's online, and maybe I'll talk with them, or you'll just be sitting in the chat, someone will come in and say hey, and you'll say hey, and then they head out, and then that's kind of how I feel like we don't really have that with our bar rooms, but you see that with pubs where they just, they have their friends, their local friends, and they go in and say, hey, Freddie, have a drink, and then they're on their way. And I love that. It's cool.
Yeah, no, it's not to sound so corny, but it's like you're with your family and
you're drinking family.
Yeah. What do you know about that, Alex? You're 17, so you don't drink.
I'm
that,
not
right?
7. I'm not 17.
No.
I'm 19. You dingus. Also, the U.S. should lower the drinking age to 18, like every other normal fucking country. Because
I mean, you still in the UK. You still can't go to the bar at 18.
Well,
you only can go at 21.
UK is not a real country. It doesn't count. So, like, I've been to Mexico and Israel over the past 7 months, and both of those countries are 18. So, I just feel that should be the drinking age.
Oh, it made you feel like an adult.
They can get away with it because everybody rides bicycles and drives tiny cars.
That's true. How much damage can you do drunk driving in a smart car?
Yeah, a little tiny
or
golf
Vespa.
cart.
A Vespa. That's the way they get around there.
And there's not much of a guarantee that you make it much older than 18 anyway.
Lowering the drinking age is a gateway drug to having urinals in public on the streets.
Well, see, the thing about the drinking age is it's actually left up to the states, but the only reason why it is 21 nationwide is because if it's not 21, then the government actually withholds funding. So that's why all the states make it 21. So technically it's not a national rule. Law, for that matter.
Are we the highest?
I think so.
Whatever. I'm past it. I was mad when I was 18. Now I don't care.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just it's actually it's not that fun. I mean, it's still fun to get drunk, but just I'm over it. I used to think I was so cool. Flashing my fake ID.
I thought you were gonna flash something else.
I mean, that's if the fake ID didn't work. So that's.
In Europe, that would probably get you a drink.
Yeah.
It'd probably make you prime minister. I think it was David Cameron who apparently fucked a pig for his sorority. Not sorority, his fraternity. And then it was, and the weird thing was, it was this is right after it was the first episode of Black Mirror came out, where the prime minister had to fuck a pig.
Speaking of fucking pigs, I got a ticket the other day.
I thought you were gonna say. Speaking of fucking pigs, Roseanne.
No, that's what I was.
We'll get to that later.
But dude, you
we're
had
still
one
in the
chance to
portion
talk
where we
about
talk
fucking
about me.
pig. Okay, all right.
Yeah.
I'll be right back.
Yeah, so I get a ticket the other day for the lamest reason possible for driving my truck in the improper lane. Basically, I was in either a 4 or 5 lane highway. It was a big freaking highway at the point where I was at. And then I was in the 3rd lane over, where supposedly trucks are only allowed in the 2 lanes over or whatever. And I wasn't slowing traffic or anything like that, and I get pulled over. I'm like, Jesus Christ. The cop was nice enough. I didn't get shot. No dogs were harmed in the making of this pullover incident here and shit like that. But I got a ticket, $130 for being in the wrong lane for about like 45 seconds. And it's just retarded, and I wanted to bitch about it.
Maybe you should, kneel next time the national anthem is played. I hear that really. It's a big fuck you to the military and police officer. I don't know.
Yeah. But yeah, like he was nice enough, but yeah, I still think $130 is a little bit overcharged to be in the wrong magical lane on the road there. But hey, the streets of Burton, Michigan are safe once again from the maniacal third lane truck driver.
Are you going to do it again though? That's the big question. Are you going to disobey the law?
Oh, of course. Sometimes you got to get over it.
Yeah, well then.
I think you should.
Well, then that was it.
I think you should run your truck directly into the police station.
Yeah. Well, you got to pay the ticket, right?
Well, yeah.
You guys should have put in a truck drive-through.
Exactly. If you don't put in a truck drive-through, it's your fault, and then they have to pay the ticket. That's how it works.
Yeah. Yeah, I'll just pull them over with my truck.
Who says you can't?
Yeah, I mean, all you have to do is buy a siren on Amazon, and you're good.
Isn't that how the civilians arrest works?
Yeah. Plus, I also think that, like, if you're driving a semi-truck, the police that pull you over should also be in a semi-truck, just to be fair. The same goes for trains. If you have to... it should take a train to pull over a train.
So it should take a horse cop to pull over some guy riding a horse?
Absolutely.
Do they still have those, or is that...
I think it's a Canadian thing.
I think that, if you have a truck on the road and there's a cop who's stopping you, like, I feel like the cop should really be thankful that you're letting him live, because if you have a fucking truck and he's got a car, I mean, you could kill him. So, I mean, really,
yeah.
it's your demeanor that's holding you back from killing him. So, I mean, the cop should be thankful.
I always think about that with cops on motorcycles. Like, you brake check him, he flies off his motorcycle, you keep on going.
I saw a video online, and it was like a motorcycle cop that was texting on his cell phone while he was riding his motorcycle, and then he ran into one of those orange barrels and flipped off of the bike.
Still keep on topic, kind of. Have you guys ever seen that Rick and Morty 10-minute like cartoon scene they released on YouTube?
No, I haven't.
So it's this like weird. I had no idea why the hell they would do this, because it wasn't like part of the season or anything. But it was this 10-minute cartoon of like Morty being a judge and then Rick being like the defendant, and it's like this back and forth crazy trial thing. And I was like, all right, it's kind of funny. And then I just found out yesterday that shit is true. Like, it was an actual transcript from an actual trial, and basically what it was some guys like saying "fuck you" to the judge, and then it just goes, "I'm gonna do it. Give you 1 more year." And I was like, "Fuck you, 2 more years. Fuck you, 10 more years." Oh, this is gonna be a fascinating trial. Is the craziest thing. I mean, I would read the transcripts, but if you don't like reading, then I would watch the 10-minute Rick and Morty thing on YouTube. But like word for word, that is exactly how the trial went down. And basically, it was like the guy telling the judge to go eat a dick. And it's so I'm not doing it justice. That is
I actually heard about the court proceeding. I just never heard about the Rick and Morty thing doing it.
Yeah, I didn't even know about the court proceeding until like I read something on it, and so I was like, holy shit, I know exactly that Rick and Morty skit. Because like if it was just a Rick and Morty skit, it would just be like, whatever, it's fine. It's not that funny.
I was thinking about how cops always have a laptop in their car. For one thing, that doesn't seem very hands-free. But for another thing, what do motorcycle cops do? Like, they don't have a laptop.
Guys, we have jumped the shark with this show. We're now talking about laptops in cops' cars. No, they call it in. I mean, it's not... I mean, one's on a motorcycle, just call it in, and when someone speeds and they get their driver's license. And yeah, and I mean, it's not that hard of a question to answer.
I don't know. I think it's clear that we need legislation for this to mandate that motorcycles have laptops in them. It's only fair. Okay, so now that we're done talking about me, it's time to talk about everyone else in the world. And it being June now, it's Gay Pride Month.
Yeah.
And so...
do you have something to tell us, Chris? Or
well, I just wanted
Now's the
to
best
virtue
time
signal
to,
here for a second. Like, I am so proud of the gays and proud of their month that I, in 1985, was born in this month. And I was very future thinking when this happened. And I wanted to celebrate my birth with the celebration of, the folks that are gay. And
that's not future thinking. That's selfish. You're trying to take away from their glory.
Yeah, I mean, this is my month.
Hey, no one can take away their glory. But anyways, so my birthday's in Gay Pride Month, so beat that, guys.
So
good for you.
If Brian wants to beat that, Brian is actually gay, so could beat that.
I just don't understand why we don't have a gender fluid Pride Month.
No, it's LGBT. I mean, that's what I like. Look, I see. This is fine. There are two sexes. I get there. There's the penis, a vagina, whatever. But I just think at this point people are just being assholes. When it's like, oh, I'm not gonna call you by your name. Like, look, fine. If someone misinterprets someone's name and you're like, well, I prefer. They, just let them slide on that. But why are people just so disrespectful sometimes if someone just wants to be called by a different pronoun? I don't really get that.
You got us down this road, Chris. This is your fault.
It is your fault, Chris.
Yeah, I don't. If I know somebody personally, and they wanted to be called something, I wouldn't care.
Yeah, look,
but it
I might
is
make a
kind of
mistake.
weird, if you see someone in the store and your kid bumps into them and then you tell your kid, oh, say sorry to her, and then it's like, oh, I'm a man, or whatever. It's just like, okay, calm down, but really that's as far as any of this really has to go.
Yeah, and I think that's such a weird okay, fine, this is your show, I'll let it slide.
Sorry I'm late.
I think hey Wes.
Oh, hey Wesley.
Just in time.
Oh, for what?
Give us a topic, quick. Literally anything else.
Well, I'm sure you have a lot to say on Gay Pride Month.
I have. Well, I just got married, and one of her many brothers, is gay.
No, let's be real here, Wes. One of her many, many brothers.
Yeah. Yeah, she has a really big family.
The odds that one of them would be gay is pretty good with how many brothers she has.
That's true.
Is he excommunicated?
He's not excommunicated. He kind of stopped going to church, and some of her family is a little more accepting and tolerant, and some of them aren't so tolerant. And it is sad to see, there are some differences there, but he's.
I'm surprised you haven't been excommunicated yet.
Oh, for the podcast? Yeah, I'm surprised too.
I mean, just stepping foot in CLC. that.
Although everyone, I'm sure Bishop Hammer listens to Wesley's podcast, and he's like, yeah, why are black people's palms a different color than the rest of their skin?
Oh.
Shout out to Bishop Hammer.
Shout out to Bishop Hammer.
Yeah, I don't think Mormons get excommunicated. I think they get extra communicated. Where it's just the line of Bible bike ride, people just constantly at the door trying to tell them hey, you could just change and come back.
But so you were talking about the gays?
Well, yeah, it's Gay Pride Month, and I was bragging.
He was taking
I am
taking
so
credit.
proud of the gays that I put my birthday in this month. So
Oh, nice.
So by that standard, I am so proud of September 11th that I was born on September 10th.
Oh my god.
Wow. We all know that your people were in on it, so that's no surprise here.
That is definitely going to be Eric's soundbite for the intros.
I think I can actually one-up you. Because I was born on March 8th, which is International Women's Day. So,
Ooh, nice.
Oh, that's.
I think
worse.
I think I deserve my credit here.
How are we on this topic?
I don't know.
Well, this is what happens when Chris drives the show.
Can I talk about the? Wait. Do you really want me to bring a topic?
Yeah,
Or-
go for
Sure.
it. Oh, it's not even my show. Yeah.
Okay. So I just made friends with the electrician, and I want to be his best
I
friend.
called it.
He's amazing. Like, honestly, he's the coolest dude. He has like this Viking beard and a sick fade, and I want to marry him off to one of my sisters. That's basically like what I want. Yeah.
We definitely turned your scenario into a pornography before you showed up.
Oh Lord.
Yeah, we
Newly
imagined
married,
him becoming
guys.
your brother husband.
Oh. Oh,
And then you
boy.
come along and talk about how great he is.
Yeah, and really, you had the sentence all the way up to where you said, "Marry my sister." You know, we got you all the way up to there. So
I want to marry him.
you're only 2 words
off
off.
to my sister.
But yeah, he like if I ever drank a beer with someone, it would be this guy. He's a total Gentile, like had all the tattoos.
Wait,
and
I gotta
stuff.
stop you right there. We've been podcasting together for how long now, and you just meet this guy off the street, and all of a sudden you're gonna go drinking with him?
I'm not saying I'm going to drink with him, but if I ever drink with someone, it's kind of a toss-up between you and him.
Riley's
Jesus.
literally coming to Utah next week.
Oh, you are? Oh,
I'm gonna be in Utah tomorrow.
Oh.
what part?
Salt Lake.
Oh, okay. Oh, well, you won't be in the god-awful heat here. That's. I hope you don't have to get in it. It is awful.
Yep.
Chris, what are your feelings on Mitt Romney?
On Mitt
Or
Romney.
not Chris. Not Chris. Wesley. What are your feelings on Mitt Romney? Because you're from Utah.
You know, like most believers out there, I used to be a pretty big fan. You know, of course there are, the occasional Mormon Democrat, and I'm sure I'll get flack from people saying that. There are probably more liberal Mormons than most people give credit, but I'm not very happy with him in recent months and years. To be honest, he's just changed his positions on things so many times. He's wavered on Trump back and forth, and I think he's a great politician for a state like Massachusetts. I mean, he's a very moderate kind of Republican. But he's very disconnected from his his fellow Mormons in Utah. He really hasn't lived here. He has a vacation home, I think, up around Park City. But he is not a Utahn. The connection he has here is he has some relatives that lives here. He helped put together the 2002 Winter Olympics. But I really don't want him to be the senator for Utah in this year. But I don't know. I'd prefer him over a Democrat, but I'm not a big fan anymore.
I mean, I preferred him back when he was a hairdresser and a dog transportation technician.
I mean, it's weird because, of course, like during the 2012 campaign,
Mm-hmm.
as a Democrat, like, you just cannot stand Mitt Romney. And then Trump comes along, and it's like, oh God, please, Mitt Romney, please take him down, be president.
And
I will. Yeah, honestly, like, I actually do like Mitt Romney. I don't think he's a bad person at all. I, of course, disagree with his politics, but I think he's more sane.
Right.
I think he's probably what this country needs right now. That's weird for me to say.
I don't think he's a bad guy, but he's just disconnected with the rural Utah voter, and that's really, what I care about is those issues. And
no, but
But
it's weird because you have Trump, a guy who's lived in New York his entire life, fucking over like the poor people, running for president as a populist, and he's most attracted towards everyone, like middle America, which just makes no sense.
It really doesn't make sense. I'm not a Trump fan either. I am a conservative. But I do not care for Trump. In a contest between Trump and Romney a million times. But I was just sharing my opinion on Mitt.
Yeah, no, and I was just saying about the politicians connecting with their. So I'm just it's like if you don't think Mitt Romney is able to connect with people from Utah. I am just perplexed how Trump was able to connect with Middle America.
Right.
Well, you know who also connects with Middle America? Roseanne.
I teed that one up right for you.
Yeah, I wanted to talk about Roseanne's, tweet and her subsequent firing on the show because, I always like to, have Eric talk about race relations every time he's on the show. And,
come on. Should I just get my black roommate to come here to kind of keep me on track?
Well, yeah, just have him write down everything you say, as you say it, and give you nods of approval if you do right, and then also, shake his head in disapproval every time you do wrong.
But you need a my man. That's the real sign, that he approves, is if he says, my man.
Did anyone?
Isn't that what they do?
God, did you? God, this is already going down a terrible path.
I love the Wesley Black Dictionary.
Did you ever see that YouTube? I think it was this comedy skit with this white guy getting into a fight with the black man, and he had a token black man by his side. So every time he had to say the N-word, he would just point to the. Okay, guys, racism part 2. Let's do this.
Yeah, so the way I wanted to get into this was I kind of came into this sort of situation late. So when I first heard about her getting fired, for one, I've never seen her new show. I liked her old show. I heard the new show was relatively good. It was ABC's #1 comedy, for one. And then... and I heard that she just got fired for a racist tweet, so I just took it on its head like that. Okay, she was, had a racist tweet. Just, she has a track record of doing these things pretty much every few months for the last, all of her career. So, who didn't see this coming?
Within 2 hours, everything of her was swiped out of ABC. So you kind of have to think to yourself, they probably had a panic button for this.
Yeah.
As soon as something happened, you just hit the red button and everything gets scrubbed.
Yeah, you have the two guys in the control room with the synchronized key swipes and stuff like that.
I'm very kind of surprised the show lasted this long, or that ABC actually picked it up without acknowledging that this would eventually happen. And I guess it worked out for them to some extent, because they got a season of not just the highest comedy on ABC, but the highest rated comedy on television, period. But I just don't know how they didn't think that this would be the eventuality to some degree, because she has tweets that go back to 2012 where it's where she calls Hillary Clinton a cunt, and she goes on the record of calling, and she has other racist tweets too. So it's
she's called Susan.
the idea that ABC didn't know this was coming was just kind of ridiculous.
No, they knew this was coming. I mean, this is not a surprise to them. They took a chance, and surprisingly, she lived up to her reputation. So
the thing that confuses me is that they didn't see it coming. They saw it. It existed, and they hired her. And then when it happened, they're like, "Okay, man, you're fired." And I think to myself, why'd you hire her in the first place if you don't tolerate this stuff?
No, but the thing is, it's like when Trump was elected, it's like, oh, he's going to be more presidential now. He's going to stop tweeting, and...
But everyone knew that was fucking bullshit. And no one really thought that was going to fucking happen.
So, I mean, like, here's my hot take on it. It's astounding to me that they didn't see this coming. I think now that we've all four said that, like, we can move on to, like, the actual topic. Was what she tweeted actually really racist? And here's where I'll defend her. I don't think so. So I just assumed it was, just based off of what everybody said. But then I saw the tweet, and it was just a picture of Valerie Jarrett, which was one of Obama's appointees or whatever. And just, like, you know, with her as the lady from the Planet of the Apes or whatever. And I gotta admit, she does look like that lady. I mean, like, you know, and here's the thing. It's one thing if, like, back in the 70s or whatever, there was the whole, like, or, you know, even back through times of slavery or whatever, all black people look like all monkeys kind of thing. But now the bar of racism has shifted so low to now it's like this specific black person looks like this specific, like, made-up monkey person.
Chris.
Then, like...
Your point of view is more extreme than Tommy Lauren's. How does that make you feel?
Like, listen to this. You know who else looks like a monkey? Fucking everybody. Like, we are fucking monkeys.
No, but there's
you know how many pictures of Donald Trump he looks just like an orangutan? It's insane.
No, but you're saying that, but completely ignoring what blacks were actually referred to back in the day. Like,
But that's obviously not what Roseanne was going for, because she wasn't saying all black people were like this, or, you know, referencing, like, stuff from back in the day. It's like, you know, we at some point we need to, like, kind of, you know, move on past shit, and then also, like, take things with the actual, sorry to say this phrase, context of what they're given in. And I mean, like, you know, Roseanne's done tons of shit with, like, other black people, and, you know, it's... I just think it's a little bit over the top to jump to, like, oh my god, it's so racist and everything, when, like, really the bar of racism is just incredibly low anymore.
No, I want to go back to whether ABC saw it coming.
Yeah.
No, first of all, it wasn't necessarily... First of all, it was racist. Like, that's fine. You can say, like, oh, Valerie Plame looks like a monkey, but... You know, there are
not
racists...
a monkey. She looked like the actress in the Planet of the Apes. She did look like...
But then you have to continue to ignore every single following tweet. Like, oh, I didn't even know she was black. Okay, bullshit. And then you have to also realize that she was also talking against Muslims in that same tweet. So it's just like a whole bunch of things, and it was her excuse and her... previous tweets that also compared Susan Wright to monkeys. So wait, only black people are monkeys to her? Like, she hasn't said that about anyone white.
I thought she had another one where Hillary looked like Dr. Zayas. Or was that somebody else that did that?
I don't know.
That was a good one too, because Hillary was in an orange suit and Dr. Zayas wears a orange suit in the film and everything like that. But anyways, here's my other take on it too. ABC is completely within the right to can her, you know, because they believe that she damaged their brand, and so they're absolutely within their right to fire her for any reason they want.
I don't think anyone's debating that.
Yep. That's the thing about this, is that I feel that when ABC took the show and when ABC decided to bring Roseanne back, I feel like they had kind of inherently changed their brand when they did that, because people already knew what Roseanne's bag was and what she does. So, like, you know, the idea that, like, bringing in Roseanne back wouldn't rock the boat of what ABC's brand initially is, kind of regardless of the racist tweet that she just did, is kind of stupid to me. Like, I don't really get how it rocks the brand now, but it didn't before.
Right.
So now my question is, how long did they go before they make the same mistake again and hire her back for something else?
I think she's done for a long time. They're going to, some conservative web show will hire her for something. I don't know. But
there was also a thing during the actual season of Roseanne that aired that ABC forced her to delete 3 tweets during the season before anyone really got to them. So that was a thing that happened. So in terms of did ABC see this coming? Yes, and they prevented it apparently 3 times from actually getting to this point. So that's kind of ridiculous to me.
So, but it's not just that tweet either. I mean, it's like she wrote something about George Soros. By the way, George Soros is a Nazi who turned into his fellow Jews to be murdered in German concentration camps and stole their wealth. Were you aware of that? But we all make mistakes, right, Chelsea? Sorry, that's terrible reading. It's just she has bad grammar. But the thing is, like, George Soros, I think it's pronounced Soros. But, like, there's a lot of conspiracy theories about him, which are not true, but I'm not talking about that. But he's also a Holocaust survivor. And it's
my favorite conspiracy theory about George Soros, and this is 100% absolutely true. He looks like a monkey.
George Soros kind of looks like my grandpa.
George Soros is just a guy who donates to Democrats. That's like I don't like. The thing is I think the problem with Roseanne is not necessarily her blatant racism, which I believe is fully there for us to realize, despite what you say, Chris. I think the problem with her is, like, she's a conspiracy theorist. I mean, she's the kind of thing who will believe anything that's written on some extreme right-wing website. Kind of like Chris Gower.
I knew it was coming. I was waiting for it.
Yeah, kind of like Chris Gower. Because, like,
shout out to our boy Chris.
The interesting thing about the Roseanne thing is there's actually a bit from Bill Maher like 2 months ago. And this is when Roseanne first started and aired its first episode on ABC or whatever. And it actually goes through like an entire bit of how like Roseanne has taken this persona as like a right-wing thing and how she supports Trump and all this. But if you go back to like what her politics actually were in like the 80s and the 90s, like she's actually like pretty much a socialist.
Yeah, did she even run for Socialist Party? Like,
she ran for president in 2012. I don't think she knows what she's talking about at all. Like, I don't think she's a sane person. I think she needs mental health.
I think that this thing with Roseanne is kind of that something that I've seen my own family members have to some degree, which is a lot of them don't really care for Trump in terms of what his policies actually are, in terms of what he's actually doing, but a lot of people embrace his anti-political correctness. A lot of people embrace the things about Trump that are just Trump. Like, you know, there is a group of people that voted for Trump because they wanted tax cuts, and there's a group of people that voted for Trump because they just wanted Trump and they wanted everything that came with him, with his kind of movement. So, like, I think Roseanne kind of speaks to that entirely, because Trump goes against all of her political beliefs, yet she still pretty much supports him because of who he is.
Yeah, I mean, it's scary. Like, so I got into this debate with another shout out to Chris about, and it's a weird debate to get into because it's a sensitive subject. It was about sex trafficking, and so Roseanne made this comment about, you know, how Trump is the best president for sex trafficking, and it's
that's a weird phrase to wait it.
Well, yeah, I don't exactly, yeah. And then, like, I was reading all these things in the Washington Post and New York Times, like, saying, like, yeah, it's this, like, big conspiracy theory on the right that, you know, Donald Trump, like, as soon as, had all these made all these arrests in sex trafficking, and I was like, wow, this sounds familiar. And I remember like first talking to Chris when Trump kind of first took office, and I was like, oh, I love Trump's sex trafficking policy. It's like, this is the same thing. You guys are falling for the same thing. Like, I'm not saying that Trump's terrible at sex trafficking. I mean, I'm sure he's done well, but it's like this everyone on the right just gathered together and made up these bullshit statistics that like Trump increased sex trafficking arrests by 300%. I'm like, that's not true at all. It's kind of the same, like it's a little bit less than what Obama did. I mean, if you want to be serious, but I'm not like comparing the two presidents because I don't think they really have anything to do with the amount of arrests in these terrible sex trafficking incidents. But like, she also believed in Pizzagate. So I
think she believes in pizza, a lot of things.
Yeah.
So
yay, fat jokes.
I really...
Fucking
good Lord.
Alex, son of a bitch.
Oh, you heathen.
Is he peeing right now?
Yes, he is.
Chris, can we take a commercial break?
We might as well. This is a perfect time for it.
Every single year, millions of people in America are denied inalienable rights. Rights afforded to them by the Constitution. Just because you're poor or destitute doesn't mean you don't deserve the same rights as everyone else. That's why we started the Arm the Homeless initiative. Because even if you cannot afford a gun, one should be appointed to you. We take donated pistols and clean them to a safe, reliable firearm, and we find a needy, red-blooded American and give it away, no questions asked. Because remember, the only thing that will stop an eccentric madman with a gun is an eccentric madman with a gun for each personality. Athi! Probably not the worst idea.
Oh, Canada. Oh, Canada. Oh, Canada. Oh, Canada. Hey there, I'm Cliff from Oh Canada, the premier adult novelty store of Sault Ste. Marie, Ontario, Canada. Here at Oh Canada, we carry a wide selection of adult books, DVDs, games, and lingerie. Oh, did I mention we also carry adult toys too? 'Cause we do. We got dildos, vibrating dildos, those ones that look like an arm. We even got dildos of the CN Tower. And just like the one in Toronto there. And if that doesn't do ya, we got ones in black too, while supplies last. We also got one that's a lifelike mold of the great one, Wayne Gretzky. So pick one of those up if you're looking to score. Remember, the next time you're in the mood, it's Oh Canada.
Hey kids, do you like podcasts? If you like podcasts, then you should check out the AI podcast on podcast services everywhere, as well as simplecast.com, where it is featured. You like guests? Well, we got them. Hosts of the show, Tim Davis Demuse and Chris Riley, have both existed on the show before, and that is something that is a big achievement. Other prominent guests include Christopher Ian Solera and Mark Boggio and Chris Coward, and you can check them all out on the show as well. It's a fun discussion show, and if you like fun discussion shows, God knows there aren't enough of them in 2018, you can check them out on the AI podcast. And if you do, then good. And if you don't, I will come to your house and probably kill you. But sounds good. Check out the podcast, kids.
And we're back. I don't even know for real this time or not, because Brian's the one that takes care of that, but we'll just go on the assumption that we've gone and come back from break.
Can you at least wait till Alex is done before you bring us back?
Absolutely not. We just have to roll with it. When it rains, it pours.
Everybody listening is going to be like, damn, that was a long pee.
You gotta keep on bodily fluids.
And again, he doesn't wash his hands after.
Oh, you heathen.
Well, I gotta get back to the show.
Is that how they do it in Israel, Alex?
That's the problem, Alex. You never left the show.
It's funny you mentioned that because Israel actually has a thing where water is really expensive there. And so, not that people don't wash their hands, but showers are supposed to be shorter and people don't actually drink as much water there as a result.
I'm sorry. I know that you wanted to hear about Alex's adventures as a topic, but I did want to let Wes get in his thing before we go.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
He's probably been getting in his thing a lot lately since he got married.
No comment.
Just love that electrician that came over. Man, I would have a drink with him.
I'm not saying I wouldn't if I became a drinker. I'm not saying I wouldn't have a drink with you. I'm just saying the thought came to the mind, like that would be a fun guy. You know, I don't know.
Well, what do you think about Roseanne Barr? Would you have a drink with her?
No, and the one comment I was going to make on it is I've never followed any of her shows, any of her work or anything, and I really don't know. Is she really that popular? Is she really that significant?
She is. Okay, her show was really big back when it was on originally, and then it was really big when they did a reboot. I think her show was actually a good idea for this time because you see what's on television right now, and you might argue liberals kind of take over the television sets from time to time. So I think it was a smart move by Disney to bring it back, knowing the problems she may cause. Now I think Fox is kind of doing the same thing with Last Man Standing. Another show that got canceled, and then conservatives complained, "Oh, it's because Tim Allen's conservative." I mean, like, guys,
maybe it was just a shitty show.
Yeah, I mean, it
was another show that was one of the most popular shows on TV.
No,
but there was like a rights issue going on with it or something.
No, there's also it also did terrible in its demographic too, because like there's advertising has to do with demographics. So a show could have be the highest rated show, but it's not hitting the proper audience for them to make a financial gain. It's a confusing aspect.
Yeah,
Last Man Standing averaged like a 1.0 on like a Friday, which is pretty not good. And then, but my thing with Tim Allen is that Tim Allen hasn't really said anything all that controversial. I mean,
he hasn't. I mean, he's not.
Yeah.
Just bring back Tool Time. I want Tool Time.
Yeah,
and put it on Netflix.
So many opportunities to make gay jokes. That's great, Wes.
Brian, stop with the homoeroticism.
It's Gay Pride Month.
Okay, good for them.
So was the electrician into AC/DC?
If Brian had made that joke, it would have been bad, but I appreciate it from you, Chris.
Wow.
I'd actually like to expand from Roseanne to another topic, more in general TV reboots, because I don't know if you guys know, but CBS is bringing Magnum PI back and also Murphy Brown for the next television season, which is something the millennials are sure to be into.
Yeah, who hasn't been lining up around the block to get some piece of that Murphy Brown action? I mean, come on.
It's just like I don't know. Like I think people saw Roseanne and were like, all right, now we got to do every fucking reboot. It's like you can't reboot every show that people like already fucking forgot about.
The cable is dying. Why?
This topic is so old. Yes, reboots suck. We get it. The Arrested Development just came back for its 5th season after its reboot. It's not that great. It's better than season 4, but I just like where else can we go with this? Like if they do a good job, I saw the first 2 episodes of Roseanne. I thought they were good. They were fine.
No, it's just cognitive dissonance. No one gives a shit about Murphy fucking Brown anymore, except my fucking grandma who's outside of the demographic. So why the fuck is ABC doing this? Roseanne is something that people latched onto because there was, there's conservatism to it. There was people feeling represented when they haven't felt represented before. I get that. That makes sense.
they have a reason to do it. If it doesn't do well, then they're not going to continue on. I think I think Murphy Brown was a massive hit at the time, and they are trying to recapture that magic. And it might actually work in this time in an age of journalism. I mean, think about all the like quote unquote fake news that's out there. I think it could be fascinating. Like, I never watched Murphy Brown. I might try it one episode. But, you know, there's a show, The Newsroom. They used to be on HBO. I think it would be amazing right now, and I think it ended 2 years too early. I would love.
Can we just talk about Star Wars: The Last Jedi real quick?
Oh, Lord,
please. Well, at least Mark's not here, so you know, we might actually be able to have an intelligent conversation about it.
Also, Solo officially bombed at the box office, pulling in $29 million in its second week, declining 70%. So, nice one.
I whatever. It was good. It was fine. It was a waste of time. I have no. It was a good waste of a rainy Sunday afternoon. I had nothing against
it.
Is
They made their money back, right?
Like supposed to be? No, it's not making its money back.
You're not kidding.
No.
Huh.
The thing about Star Wars, though, is that Star Wars has weirdly gone from, like, this thing where, I mean, I've never been really a Star Wars fan, but I've seen it go from this thing that's, like, a cultural phenomenon to this thing that's like, yeah, whatever, I'll go see it. Like, that's, I think, the biggest problem with it right now, is that no one really has any enthusiasm to see it, and it's just kind
Too
of...
much of a good thing.
You know,
That's what it is.
And it's become kind of... You've kind of marvelized Star Wars, and that doesn't work when you've had like 6 films in 40 years, and now you're planning to do 6 films in 6 years.
Part of the blame lies on the fandom, just because they are not happy with fucking anything. Like, holy shit. Like, you know, you do something that everybody asked for with the prequels, but it wasn't quite what they wanted, so everybody hated on that. And then they, you know, try to like do stuff more like the original trilogy, which is what everybody wanted, and then it came out and nobody liked that. And then you freaking do something wildly different, and then like everybody wants to complain about that. And then the Solo thing was the weirdest one, because it was literally the furthest thing from what anyone wanted. No one was asking for a Solo movie.
I think that that's partially true in terms of the core Star Wars fan base being mad. But, I mean, based on Solo's numbers, it doesn't seem like Disney's really getting any excitement from just, like, casual Star Wars people, which has kind of been the shocking thing for me, that the Star Wars effect has worn off very quickly. Like, that's something that I just didn't really expect, even if...
I mean, kinda. I mean, you still got The Force Awakens and The Last Jedi, you know, being in the top 10 highest-grossing movies in history. And so, I mean, there's something to be said about that, but just like Solo, I just think it was doomed from the start. And then they're not doing any favors to themselves by, like, you know, when even considering about announcing the next spin-off movie, it's going to be either Obi-Wan or somebody else that we already know and care about and don't want to go back to have them, you know, ruin the backstory of. And I don't know why they can't just listen to everybody who's given them the suggestion, do something, you know, actual new that nobody can fucking complain about. And, like, yet they just will not go to that well, no matter how much you lead them to it.
Has anyone suggested a Darth Maul movie?
I'm sure people have, but good lord, I hope not.
I mean, how many people here saw Han Solo?
I didn't.
Oh.
Nope.
Do you guys know the twist or no?
Nope.
Right.
How is there a
He's
twist?
banned.
They all fucking live at the end. No one dies. That's how.
No, but there was a cameo there which was like no
the
one
twist
expected.
The twist that Lando is pansexual.
Yeah.
Yo,
he wasn't. No, the thing was he wasn't pansexual. He was just like, I think he was like in love with his robot. Like you got. They implied in the movie that like he has sex with his robot.
He wants to have sex with a pan?
Oh, so it's like buying a vibrating toy or something.
Kind of like
toy.
there's this like relationship that they like hint at throughout the entire
That's a
movie.
good question. Is sex with a robot just masturbation?
What is pansexual?
I mean, it's sex with a fleshlight. masturbation?
I think so.
I think so.
All right. Well,
I think
there's
sex
just
was
answer your
Star
about
question.
Wars, the
masturbation.
robots have like agency a little bit though, so
Are they sentient?
yeah.
Wesley pansexual, and I'm gonna get flack for this because people try to put a line between pansexual and bisexual, but it basically means that you don't have a preferred partner, right? You can have sex with, you're attracted to anybody,
Yeah.
Either gender.
any gender.
So, okay, now that we know that Pando Calrissian has sex with robots, my question is, do we think that Rocky ever fucked the robot that he gave Paulie?
Well, I don't know about Rocky, but Polly 100%.
What was this, Rocky
I
5?
mean, did you see the Rocky 4? I mean, did you see those fuck me eyes the robot gave him as he was, bringing the birthday cake in? I mean,
Happy
holy
birthday,
shit!
Paulie.
Like, yep.
I've come to have sex
That's
with
one
you,
of those
Paulie.
that you have to kind of loosen your tie around the neck a little bit. Like it was getting a little hot under the collar there.
I know we've already started with the intro, but I've never seen anything beyond Rocky 1.
That is by far the best one, but there's some good stuff in the others.
The only bad Rocky was Rocky 5. Rocky 5 is...
Yeah,
Creed was really good.
yeah, it
was
was.
really good.
So, Alex, tell us about your trip to Israel.
Oh, it was pretty dope.
You do Birthright?
No, I don't do Birthright. I just went there to visit family. But I saw a bunch of Birthright kids there. But it was pretty fun. The only thing that kind of sucked about it was that there's a bunch of shit going on in Jerusalem and kind of a lot of the kind of big parts of Israel that makes it, with missile strikes and all that from Hamas. So it was kind of unsafe to really go to Jerusalem. And we
literally a tourist trap.
Yeah, yeah. If only you could have picked a better time to go there. No time in recorded history.
That's what I was about to say. It's not really much different.
That's the thing, is that there's not really a good time to go. So, I mean, if you're visiting family, you're just kind of going there and you're taking whatever risk comes with it. There's actually a time we had to evacuate the apartment for 5 or 10 minutes because there was a warning that a missile strike was coming, but it never really came.
Well, they don't usually launch missiles between 2 and 3, but then you hit the rush hour and it's just a nightmare.
I mean, I did.
Oh, of course.
I did. I went to Israel for Birthright, and we had to have a armed soldier with us the entire time. It's I mean, we had no trouble, no issues. I mean, but it's crazy. They're some towns, they have these shelters these really tiny shelters that if the alarm goes off, then you all try to fit in, but they never. I can't really see that as effective at all.
Would you have had your first beer with said armed soldier?
Oh, my first beer.
Jew, it doesn't even matter.
Yeah, no, that was. We went to a vineyard, which was really cool. But no, I mean the if you're Jewish and you're under 27, do Birthright. That shit is fun. You don't even
I
have
don't
to
know
be
why I
that.
just
You don't
got
even have
hung
to be.
up on this, but what is the usefulness of the term armed soldier? Shouldn't they all be armed?
No, but it's so actually. So the thing is, it's during the trip, you're with your American crew, and then during the trip, you're joined by soldiers, so they kind of interact with you and yada yada yada. But throughout the entire trip, you do have an armed soldier. The other soldiers aren't armed. They might have their uniforms, but they don't have guns with them. There's one person with you at all times that has a gun.
Yeah, I just think that, if you had an unarmed soldier with you and that was the only one, you'd just be yeah, we had Phil with us and Phil came along with us,
Wesley, how would you feel if your wife was oh yeah, I've slept with 9 guys, but it doesn't matter?
Oh well, I'd be sending her off with the fall calves. But I'd be.
I think I speak for the entire crew of the Lost Context podcast that our feelings are hurt.
your feelings are hurt because I wouldn't want to marry a whore?
Well, no.
What did I
think
miss?
our feelings are hurt because you still want to have beer with the electrician, but you won't want to have beers with us.
I didn't say
Well,
I
I
wouldn't want to.
don't want to have a beer with you, Alex, because I'd get arrested for drinking with an underage.
Yeah, Alex, you
17-year-old.
shouldn't drink. Really.
Sorry, 19.
I love young Alex jokes so much.
No.
All right, well, we'll see who's laughing when I'm the last one breathing and you're all in the retirement home. Fucking, I don't know.
Alex, I'm like 4 years older than you.
That sounds like someone who's going to the retirement home. I mean, I'm just saying.
You're gonna be awfully lonely.
I think I invited Alex to like grab a beer one time, but I didn't realize how young he was because he lives actually close by. I still would love to meet up with you sometime, Alex.
We should do that.
Yeah, I live in
Alex, when I
Hoboken.
die, will you come and hover hand over my grave?
Yeah, I sure will. I actually will.
All right, so I got a good topic.
Can we talk? No. Can we talk about that shit for a minute? Because I was under the impression that I had actually hover-handed in my own picture, and I did not know that Brian photoshopped in the hover hand in the initial picture.
Oh, man.
I had no idea that was true, and I just looked back at my profile picture, and Brian was right. He actually photoshopped that in, and I was just absolutely shocked. Like that feels to me like some Mandela effect shit going on, where I just remember things differently. But I just was like, wow.
I'm kind of honored because I really did. I invested time and effort into that Photoshop because I actually had to paint the palm of your hand and your sleeve with my Wacom tablet. Like I actually had to paint it in there. It wasn't just like I used the clone brush or whatever. I actually painted. So I'm glad it looked lifelike.
The second time you did it, I knew it was fake because when I took the picture, I specifically put my hand on her shoulder so then you couldn't do this shit.
So how do you get? Wait. Answer me this question, guys. How do you have time to make so many Photoshops? I don't.
He's homeless.
I've done one Photoshop this entire time at CLC, and that is I think it was like low hanging fruit, and I photoshopped Chris Cowart's head and turned him red.
Well, to my credit, I am a very fast Photoshopper. But honestly, I don't know how Chris Riley photoshops as fast as he does, because he does it on his phone, and he is like lightning.
Yeah.
I don't know how he does
You
it.
just get good at it. And, some of the apps make it super easy now.
Well, my brother works for a company, and works for the same company his brother-in-law works for. But they actually do the Photoshop. They do the logos for Adobe, the actual logos. So but the thing is, I was saying, oh, do you use Photoshop for that? It's like, no, we use a completely different company, different program. But it's easy with phones. It's time consuming too. It's quality over quantity too, also. But I guess it's CLC, so no one really cares about the quality.
No. Were there any funny stories about Israel, Alex, that we're missing out on?
Funny stories. In the bathrooms in Israel, one of the things is it was a bit of a culture shock for me because in most public bathrooms in Israel, there's a 50-cent, or I guess that would be the conversion in American dollars, but there's a 50-cent charge to use the bathroom.
That is bullshit.
Before you even finished that sentence, I kind of already knew where you were going with it, and which probably says a lot more about me than it does about them. But I mean, it says some stuff about them too.
So does that mean that you put peeing on our podcast is like you virtue signaling?
Yeah, that's him saving money right there.
Peeing?
Yeah.
Real quick, this is the only thing I have. This is the only thing I have that's related to this topic. I used to play Roller Coaster Tycoon, and one of my strategies one of my business strategies was to set up a French fry stand. And in Roller Coaster Tycoon, you could build your theme park, and you could also modify the different rides and different booths. And so I set up my French fry stand to have extra salt, and I gave all away my French fries for free. Right next to that, I made a soda stand, and you could go and get drinks again for free. And so people would go to the French fry stand, they'd get really thirsty, and then they'd go to the soda stand and get a free drink. And then I had a whole line of porta potty bathrooms, and I would charge $20 per use.
Oh, nice.
Magic.
That was probably my most brilliant, economic strategy that I've ever had.
So you're just as bad as the Jews?
Yes. Nearly as bad.
The other weird thing about the bathrooms in Israel is, like, you got the baby changing station in there, and then right next to it, you got the circumcision station.
Nice.
But was that half off? Heyo.
Just the tip.
Alex, what was there to prevent you from just going in the street?
Say it again?
It seems like paying for peeing is like an encouragement for just a lot of, you smell like you New York. No offense, Eric.
Yeah, but like the
Thanks.
thing about that is that you like probably would actually get arrested for that if you like pee. Like it's not like America where you can kind of like pee outside and not really face any consequences. Israel's pretty tight about the peeing shit.
I don't know. I would say YOLO because there's probably a missile strike coming at any any given point.
It doesn't matter if there's a missile strike coming; they will straight up arrest you for having your ding dong out in public, man.
Yeah, missile strikes their Tuesday afternoon. So, are you for the two-state solution? Are you pro BB?
I don't really give a shit, man. I don't know. Just make peace or whatever. Whatever works for everyone. I don't really care.
You heard it here first, folks.
I seriously like. I'm also not like super educated on all of the knickknacks of everything. But I mean, I know it's some bullshit religion war or whatever, and Palestine, Israel. Who cares? Just make everyone happy. I don't know.
Wow, Alex just solved the Middle East crisis.
That's true. I've done more work to solve the Middle East crisis just now than fucking Jared.
Guys,
Kushner.
just be happy. That's all. Figure it out. I don't know why you guys didn't think of this before.
Bada bing, bada boom. Solved.
Okay, how about let's switch from the trip to Israel, which I don't know. Here's a topic I think would be interesting, and I'm sure you guys have talked about this a million times. Most underrated movie.
How does that relate to fucking Israel at all?
It doesn't. I was tired of Israel.
It was a terrible segue.
You have to do a segue that's actually good. All right, and that's the point of this show.
That's literally the only reason we exist.
Yes.
Speaking about hiding under bunkers to hide from missile strikes, what do you think is the most underrated show?
Oh my gosh.
Oh, God,
Movie.
that was fucking awful.
No shit.
So I got one. I got a good one. So I guess my most underrated movie is The Mighty Ducks, which is about hockey, which is going on right now. Alex, take it, go.
Oh no.
The Capitals are up 4-0, baby, on those fucking Vegas Golden, whatever the fuck they are. All right, and Capitals are up 4-0. We're winning the Lord Stanley's Cup, and that's how it's gonna go. So to all you Cody Barks people out there, or people that are named Cody Barks, y'all can eat shit right now because we're kicking your fucking ass on NBC.
Nice. So that didn't last as long as I thought it would. So I guess now we can go back to the movie.
No, I mean, but you can ask me about other things.
Well, that was the only thing that I heard y'all talking about. So, oh wait, there was the thing where no, forget about it.
I want some clarification. Eric, are you talking about underrated as in they didn't give it a good rating, or are you talking about not popular
I think like
enough?
not popular enough. There's like one movie that comes to mind, which is I think one of the funniest movies in the past 5-10 years, but no one talks about it. Pop Star Never Stop Stopping.
That was a very funny movie.
Yeah, I think it's so underrated. I think it should be like up there with Anchorman and Wedding Crashers.
Well, Anchorman and Wedding Crashers are pretty highly rated amongst comedies.
I know. I'm saying it should
I've
be up
just
there
never
with
seen.
them.
Oh, I see. Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Like I never saw it. I would like to see it though, but haven't.
Can we include
There's
TV
this-
shows or just movies?
No, you can do TV show. I don't know. There's no official rules to CLC
Right.
besides good transitions, which I absolutely failed.
There's this Adam Sandler movie from I think it's from 2012 or something.
Fail.
Oh,
Fuck
bro.
Adam Sandler.
No.
I'm sorry.
No. It's the movie is That's My Boy, and it was listen. Adam Sandler has been fit for a very long time, but I would be lying to you. Going into that movie, I was expecting it to be total dog shit, and that movie was pretty fucking funny, and I laughed pretty hard. So like, there's this scene where like Andy Samberg just fucking like is riding a bike and Adam Sandler is like pushing him or whatever, and then Andy Samberg just shits at his diaper. It's funny.
I actually just saw Game Night last night. That's a really funny movie.
I actually saw Game Night 2 on the plane ride back from Israel. It was on the TV. I saw it.
So there's this show. I don't know if you guys have ever heard of it, but it's called Game of Thrones. No, I'm just kidding.
Nah, I never heard of it.
Jake and the Fat Man. That is a real show, kids. Look it up.
Oh.
Guys, I have to admit, and in support of Pride Month, and you, Chris, because you were born in June. Queer Eye on Netflix is incredible. I love it. I can't hide from that fact.
Nice.
All right.
Yeah, no, I'm saying it made me cry. It makes me laugh. I want to be one of the Queer Eyes, just straight.
Is it like just a reboot of the show that used to be on what was it like?
Oh yeah,
TLC or
yeah.
whatever?
It's exactly a reboot. I mean, it's the same concepts instead of
Just makeovers done by the queer folks there.
Yeah, just completely new people though. It's a good cast.
Oh,
I don't know. I was shocked when I watched it. I'm like, I watched it with my girlfriend. I'm like, I don't want to see this, and I'm like, oh my god, I love it. And then I think she thought I was turning gay, so we stopped. But
I have at least a couple I want to promote. This first one is embarrassing. It's kind of one of those guilty pleasures I don't talk about. But since it's Gay Pride Month, there's a show called Terrace House, and it's Japanese, and it's basically, it's like one of those reality TV shows. What's the show that has Snooki? I don't even know.
Jersey Shore.
It's like one of those shows that is like a Big Brother. You have your cameras and you have your people interacting with each other, and it's kind of like that. And there's some drama. It's unscripted. The reason I like it is because there's this family. There's this group of friends. There's like friends that are family and stuff. Some of them are related. Some of them are just friends. But they sit in this living room and they watch the show. And every once in a while, as you're watching the show, it'll cut to them and they'll give some commentary about what they've watched. And they're so fucking funny. Like this, they're just hilarious. And the show is about, they're trying to hook up. They go to this house and live in this house for a while. It's like Big Brother, and they're dating or whatever. And I could do away, that's just material for the family as far as I'm concerned, because these people that hang out in the living room are so funny. And there's different seasons on Netflix. And they're in chronological order. It starts with Boys and Girls in the Big City, then it jumps into the Aloha State, and then now they're currently running the Boys and Girls, opening new doors. That's what it is. And so it's interesting because it's happening in real time, and Netflix is releasing them as they get them edited. So every few months they'll release a new batch of episodes. But it's so funny. But I don't like to talk about it because it's kind of a Big Brother romance show, so it's kind of embarrassing. As far as a movie, I like They Call Me Trinity. It's a spaghetti western, and I don't hear a lot of people talking about it, but it's so over the top, and the action in it is just like ridiculous. And Wesley will appreciate it because they come across a group of Mormons and they love the concept of sister wives.
Nice.
But yeah, it's just one of those. It's one of those spaghetti. All spaghetti westerns are over the top anyway, but this one is just. It takes it to a whole new level, and it's one of those shows where you don't even have to look when you shoot to kill a guy. You have perfect aim, and the guys are just superheroes. So.
Kind of like everyone thinks they have perfect aim who's on CLC.
It's really and the guys are like, he go the very opening scene, he goes in and he eats an entire pot of beans, an entire loaf of bread, and then he kills a bunch of people. Like it's just, and there's a cow standing on the roof. Like it's just too absurd. I love it.
Guys, I hate to bring breaking news, but Hank from The Office died, the security guard.
Oh.
Yeah,
Wait, what?
The black
the
guy?
security guard from the security guard from The Office died. Sorry.
Who was Hank?
Was he an armed security guard?
I don't think so. You gotta protect the paper.
Alex, when he was always in the lobby when they first enter the building, and he's standing behind that desk.
I think I
honestly don't
remember.
remember.
He's a tall black guy. He's really thin.
The only black person I remember from The Office are Stanley and Daryl. Those are the only two black people in The Office.
Like you remember the episode where they get locked in the gate and they had to call the security guy to get them out. All right, never mind. Sorry, that was a quick thing.
You guys need to watch the show
R.I.P.
again, obviously.
R.I.P.
from
Hugh
Office.
Dane. That's his name.
Can we talk about how fucking garbage the last two seasons of The Office were?
They were
No,
pretty bad.
that's so.
I don't think I watched them.
That's
Exactly. That's how garbage they were.
I'm willing to say season 7 and 8 when the new boss came along. The very, very, very final season, I think that they did okay.
They did as well as they could without Steve Carell.
Which is not good at all.
I actually liked Robert California. But anyways, Eric, do you still have a podcast?
No.
No, it's not going
I
on
did 10 episodes with Brian Diaz. Yeah, it was fun. I mean, it's good. It's a lot of work. Look, I actually love talking about politics, and I would love to do like a political podcast. I just don't have the time to edit. I have the time to speak for an hour, but editing is like an entire different ballpark, and
Yeah,
I don't know if it's worth like the 10 viewers or listeners. No, we had some highly rated shows.
Well, yeah, I was just kind of looking for an opportunity to plug, but I guess back to our other topic. One really underrated show I can tell you about is the AI podcast with Alex Insdorf.
Hey, that's I can
It's
tell
so
you that's still
weird
going.
Is that Alex? Is that still going?
That's still going. I took the last 3 weeks off because I was on vacation, but that show is
All
still
right.
going.
Speaking of podcasts, Daniel Davis has this podcast. And I don't even really want to plug it. But was it Liberty at Large? Okay.
You're doing a
Actually,
very
why
good
not?
job of not really wanting to plug it, by the
Plug
way.
it. Well, whatever. He could use the listenership. I think it just got kind of sad, like when no one listens to something and you're just like you keep on doing it, and then he like tweets all the time, and I like read his tweets. I don't tweet myself, and he's like this very like hardcore libertarian. And I'm looking at like all his previous tweets, and he has like 0 respondents or likes or whatever. And my response to him was, I think if Twitter was a free market, I think it's trying to tell you something right there, buddy.
Well, in his defense, how is anybody ever going to want to listen to the show if no one will go on to debate him?
Like he got the who's
I went on his show a couple months ago.
and doing that you became his only listener. No, but like he also like he got who's a kid from the Parkland shooting, David
Hogg.
Yeah, David Hogg. He fucking had the nerve to tweet David Hogg, come on my podcast.
Yo, debate me, bro, you school shooting survivor.
Will you at least get your sister to come on?
He probably wanted to show like, oh, I asked David Hogg to be on my podcast, but he just doesn't seem like he can handle the heat. Like, yeah, he's gonna come on the show with 2 listeners on it. Whatever. He's a nice guy, I guess. I have nothing.
Well, on that note, another underrated podcast that could use some support is ours. You know, if you like us, go to our Patreon, which we have links in our, blah, blah, blah down at the bottom, or is it at the top, or wherever the info on the episode would be. You know where it is. Just click on it and go to those places and do the things. And then also give us a good review on iTunes, and we're just now getting on Stitcher and Spotify and our, normal place, Podbean. And you can help us out there and stuff.
You're as good at this as Eric.
Whoa. I was so much better.
You couldn't even remember the name of the podcast.
What is the name of the podcast, by the way?
Lost something, I don't know. No, Lost Context Podcast, guys.
That's right. And so, I don't know, is there anything more that we got to do, or should we wrap it up right here?
No, I think we solved racism again.
I want to clarify, I have no homosexual feelings towards the electrician, and chances are I'd probably, if I ever did choose to have a beer, which I very, 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 very likely never will, I would probably have it with the CLC crew.
Thank goodness.
But he did buy his wife a tool belt and a helmet.
Oh, man. So anybody else got some parting words?
We should take another commercial break before we close it up.
All right, yeah, we're going to have outro commercials because those work really well. So don't stop listening now. Stop listening after these fake commercials that we made for you.
Following podcast brought to you by Smooth Brain. Available on our Lost Context podcast store. Now let me tell you about Smooth Brain and everything Smooth Brain can do for you. Smooth Brain will have you fucking your wife till she dies. Did you hear me? She will fucking die. Smooth Brain! Lost Context Podcast.com! And this podcast is brought to you by beautiful sunny Caracas, Venezuela. Go and see what happens when you nationalize the majority of your nation's resources. Beautiful sunny Caracas in Venezuela. You can find everything that your dreams desire, including a bullet in your spine. Caracas, Venezuela.
And we're back.
You bastard. One quick comment. For those of you who are in our Facebook group that listen to this podcast, will you please leave us feedback in the group so we can get ideas? I think that would be helpful.
Yeah, that'd be helpful.
Or just tell us how you like it, or if you don't like it, or I don't know.
So tempting.
Oh man, Lozano and Chris Solera and a couple others are gonna fill your inbox up there, man.
Yeah, they'll be happy to tell you how they like it.
Yeah. All right, this has been the Lost Context Podcast. Bye.